Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHAL Alan Stay Chell Chats Forest Green Rovers. Some pretty big breaking news coming out of the new lawn this evening. Reports going around, they're doing the rounds right now that Troy Deeney has in fact been sacked as Forest Green head coach. He's not had long in the job at all. It just gets worse and worse for Forest Green. It's looking more and more likely that Troy Deeney will be sacked officially. The reports going around from the likes of Gloucestershire Live and a few other sources already suggesting he has been sacked. We are waiting for club announcement on this as of reading this, as of recording this. But from the sounds of it, it's done. We're just waiting for it to be announced. We'll reflect on what's happened with his comments. We'll reflect on my opinions on the comments that he made towards his players after the latest defeat. We're also going to speak about what's next for Forest Green Rovers, what can save their season. So before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell on this YouTube video. Make sure you check out all the upcoming content because we've got a lot coming on the channel. We've got a couple of videos that have been in the works for a long, long time now that are just waiting to be finalized. I'm literally getting announcement dates on them now. Certain videos have taken more of a priority with them being breaking stories, on the day matches, things like that. And it's just finding the time to edit all the other content. So there's a lot still coming out. So stay tuned for that. Go and check out the latest video, which was the review of the London Lions Juventus Badalona game in the BKT Euro Cup. Spoiler alert, very narrow win with 0.2 seconds remaining. A very entertaining basketball game here in Europe and loved covering it. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers and 500,000 views. We are developing some wonderful relationships off camera with companies, franchisers, teams, clubs. We are developing many, many wonderful friendships and bridges and working relationships with all professional franchises, journalists, media outlets. We've got everything going on at the moment. So please, please, please do stay tuned to the channel. Click that notification bell to never YouTube video as well. It'd be very, very important. So please, please, please just keep subscribed and keep notified for all the upcoming content. And for now then, guys, let's get into everything that we needed to speak about this piece of news. So then, it's very, very simple, really. The reports coming around at the moment that Troy Deeney will be sacked as Forest Green Rovers head coach. It's just been a massive, massive torrid spell. And to quote the past Troy Deeney, it seems like this managerial spell has been a real lack of kahunas. If we want to quote Troy Deeney from years ago. Best way to describe it is all over the place. It's been all over the place. Look, Troy Deeney as a player, vastly experienced, proven goal scorer. But at the end of the day, as a manager, and bearing in mind, Troy Deeney came into that Forest Green setup on paper with the experience he had. What a signing. Didn't deliver as a goal scorer as what they'd hoped, and then became the manager, and it's not lasted long at all. It's really not lasted long. It's just been a mess for Forest Green. And then you throw into the situation the comment, and we nickname it the comment because it's one of the most haunting things this season in League Two, especially for Forest Green. It's really not helped their season at all. And we'll talk about Forest Green's season overall so far in this video. But let's just go through this in summary. So these are just paraphrased from the article by BBC Sport that went online just a couple of days ago, actually. Just a couple of days ago. And this is a BBC Sport article about, was the Forest Green manager right to call out his players? So just paraphrasing from the article here. Called his right back Fankati Darbo's performance awful, adding he's not been good enough for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. The manager since claimed he has apologised to the player, although he had said he had told Darbo he was dropped for the Tuesday League 2 game at Mansfield Town. He was appointed Forest Green manager back in December, becoming their 4th manager in 7 months. And we'll talk about that in a minute. The club have not won a league game since October, bottom of the table. If we take a look at Forest Green currently, as it stands, obviously, like I said, Troy Deeney appointed back in December. It's only lasted about a month. Forest Green, bottom of the table. And yeah, their last win in terms of the league came in October. In terms of overall, it was the FA Cup because they won the replay with Scarborough on the 12th of December. So if we think about it, that's their last win, but their last league win was October. So it's been the nightmare of campaigns for Forest Green Rovers. It really, really has. Um, I mean, if we look at Forest Green overall, we said we'd have a look at the. I mean, this is like I said, Deeney was the fourth boss in 7 months. So we look at the managerial history, and we're literally scrolling down here. I mean, Rob Edwards, 2021 to 2022. Ian Birchall, 2022, 2023. And then in 2023, there have been 4 managers: Ian Birchall, Duncan Ferguson, David Horseman, and Troy Deeney. The 5th boss in the last 7 months will be arriving at Forest Green. We don't know if this will be a caretaker boss yet till the end of the season. We don't know if this is going to be, the permanent manager, the man who's been appointed to turn this situation around at Forest Green Rovers. It just seems like a lot has been going on at Forest Green this season. And then if we take at Forest Green specifically this season in terms of their dealings in January, there has been 1 permanent incoming in Alex Rodriguez from Oxford United on a free transfer. In terms of loans in, there have been 3. Tommy Sinkin on loan from Stoke City, of course, did very, very well at Solihull Moors, very efficient goalkeeper, very attack-minded goalkeeper. Dominic Thompson from Blackpool to the end of the season, an experienced player. And then Maxi Oyodele from Manchester United. I like that signing. He did very well at Altrincham. Really good attack-minded defensive midfielder, and I think he could thrive. But what they're going to do without the manager, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. First of all, then, on the comments, on the matchday comments involving Fankati Darbo and other people, obviously, we know that, Deeney mentioned other things about the squad. Look, in terms of when you come out in the media as a manager, and look, I'm training as a football coach at the moment. I'm doing my badge at the moment with football coaching. So I can only say it as how I would do it if I was the coach or I was the manager. In my personal opinion, if you want to criticize your team's performance, criticize it. If you think it wasn't good enough, say it weren't good enough. Grant McCann came out numerous times this season and said that performance wasn't good enough. We know that. As a Rovers fan, I know that. But in my opinion, in the public eye, what you must not do is mention names. Because the second you mention names, you isolate them out of the squad. Their mates in the squad will turn on the manager. And we know what modern football's like nowadays with the player power. And, don't anyone get it twisted. Player power exists in modern football. We know that for a fact, especially at the top level. But at a lower level, there is player power to some respect, in my personal opinion. But as soon as a manager you mention names, you've lost the dressing room. In my opinion, you've lost the dressing room. Criticize your performance. Yes, you can say, let's say, for example, you lost 6-0 and you said that performance wasn't good enough. I'm sorry to the fans, whatever. If you mention individuals' names, let's say, I'm going to use Fankati Darbo, for example. Let's say Forest Green in February lose 6 in February or March or something like that, lose 6-0 to someone, and the manager goes, "Oh, Fankati Darbo was poor. Oyodele should have done better. Alex Rodriguez should have done better. This player wasn't good for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks." The second you do that, you lose the dressing room. What you must do as a manager is compose yourself professionally and treat it as a professional response to a professional question by the press. So, because as a manager, you've got to be careful with media because you don't want to give too many things away, but you also don't want to, put the whole rubbish on show for everyone to see. If you know there's something going on which you don't like, you don't make it public. As a manager, sometimes you've got to bite your tongue. Neil Warnock at Leeds United, perfect example back in the day. It was literally just after Simon Grayson got them back into the Championship from League One. Took a couple of attempts, but they got there. We stopped one of the attempts as Rovers fans, but there we go. But no, Simon Grayson finally got that club back into the Championship. And then it didn't go right. He left. He got sacked, whatever. Neil Warnock came in. Bearing in mind, Neil Warnock just at that time came from QPR, who at the time, there was disagreements about certain things to do with, I think, the transfer policy, I think it was. And we saw the Leeds United documentary on Sky Sports when they went back into the Premier League a few years ago. Neil Warnock, came out on that documentary and said he was relieved to leave Leeds United. You have to bite your tongue. You want to tell people everything, but you can't. If there's stuff going on behind the scenes, you keep that in-house. You don't put it on show for the world to see, because then every single person on earth knows how badly you are as a club, as a manager, as players, that kind of thing. And that kind of negativity just steamrolls. The snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just gets to a point where it's uncontrollable. And I'm not going to get it twisted. Forest Green fans might hate me for saying this. Some may agree with this. I think many might agree with this. I'm not going to speak for them. But I think Forest Green Rovers are relegated anyway. I don't want one person saying Forest Green are going to go down, in my opinion, to affect the players or anything like that. I don't want the players to look at this guy and think, what's he saying? We're going to stay up. We're going to do this, this, and this. But what Forest Green Rovers need to do now is make the right appointment. What they need to do is make the right appointment to turn the rot around, because, let's be honest, Forest Green Rovers are known to the conference. They know how to try and get back up into the Football League if this is a relegation season for them, which is looking more likely by the day it is. This next manager has to be the right appointment for the right reason, because you've got to be very, very crucial here, because there's one or two ways you can go about this. Bringing someone to the end of the season to try and keep you up. If you don't go up, or whether you stay up or not, he goes at the end of the season. Or you bring in a project manager to either keep you up and then build from there in League Two next season, or, I wouldn't say admit that you're going to go down, but have in the back of your mind that you probably might end up getting relegated, but then think of it as the bigger picture of how we can get back into the Football League as soon as possible. Because the conference nowadays is a very difficult division to get out of. Very, very tight. And sometimes even the biggest clubs in that division miss out. And it's a well-known fact. Wrexham took 15 years and a massive Hollywood investment to get out of that league. Notts County took a few years to get out of that league. Chesterfield are likely to go up this year. They took a few years in that league. Forest Green have been in that league nearly their entire existence, preferably. So, Forest Green know exactly what to do to get out of that league. They just need to start from scratch, build again, and it's going to take a specific manager to do that. So it's up to them what kind of route they go down now in terms of manager. But we know the reports are pretty much true. We know it's going to get announced at some point in the next 24, 48 hours that Troy Deeney will be sacked as Forest Green Rovers head coach. If the club do a U-turn and decide not to in the end, I mean, that's just the rollercoaster season that Forest Green have had. It really, really is. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now.